Good morning. I'm so happy that you're back with me this week for another week of e-learning. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to be done. I miss being in the classroom with you. But I love this time so that way you can see me even though I can't really see you, but I get to do what I love the most, and that's read stories to you. So we're going to continue on with chapters 6 and 7 of The Magician's Elephant. Peter dreamed. Peter dreamed. Vilna Lutz was ahead of him in a field, and he, Peter, was running to catch up. "Hurry!" shouted Vilna Lutz. "You must run like a soldier." The field was a field of wheat, and as Peter ran, the wheat grew taller and taller, and soon it was so tall that Vilna Lutz disappeared entirely from view, and Peter could only hear his voice shouting, "Hurry, hurry, run like a man, run like a soldier." "It is no good," said Peter, no good at all. "I have lost him. I will never catch him, and it is pointless to run." He sat down and looked up at the blue sky. Around him the wheat continued to grow, forming a golden wall, sealing him in, protecting him. "It is almost like being buried," he thought. "I will stay here forever, for all time. No one will ever find me." "Yes," he said, "I will stay here." And it was then that he noticed that there was a door in the wall of wheat. Peter stood and went to the wooden door and knocked on it, and the door swung open. "Hello?" called Peter. No one answered him. "Hello?" he called again. And when there was still no answer, he pushed the door open farther and stepped over the threshold and entered the apartment he had once shared with his mother and father. Someone was crying. He went into the bedroom, and there on the bed, wrapped in a blanket, alone and wailing, was a baby. "Whose baby is this?" Peter said. "Please, whose baby is this?" The baby continued to cry, and the sound of it was heartbreaking to him, so he bent and picked her up. "Oh," he said, "shh, they're there." He held the baby and rocked her back and forth. After a time, she stopped crying and fell asleep. Excuse me. Peter could not get over how small she was, how easy it was to hold her, how comfortably she fit in his arms. The door to the apartment stood open, and he could hear the music of the wind moving through the grain. He looked out the window and saw the evening sun hanging golden over the field. For as far as his eye could see, there was nothing but light, and he knew suddenly and absolutely that the baby he held in his arms was his sister Adele. When he woke from this dream, Peter sat up straight and looked around the dark room and said, "But that is how it was. She did cry. I remember I held her, and she cried. So she could not, after all, have been born dead, and without ever drawing breath, as Vilna Lutz has said time and time again. She cried. You must live to cry." He lay back down and imagined the weight of his sister in his arms. "Yes," he thought, "she cried. I held her. I told my mother that I would watch out for her always. That is how it happened. I know it to be true." He closed his eyes, and again he saw the door from his dream and felt what it was like to be inside that apartment and to hold his sister and look out at the field of light. The dream was too beautiful to doubt. I can't quit yawning. Excuse me. The fortune teller had not lied, and if she had not lied about his sister, then perhaps she had told the truth about the elephant, too. "The elephant," said Peter. He spoke the word aloud to the ever-present dark, to the snoring Vilna Lutz, to the whole of the sleeping and indifferent city of Baltis. "The elephant is what matters. She is with the countess. I must find some way to see her. I will ask Leo Matien. He is an officer of the law, and he will know what to do. Surely there is some way to get inside, to get to the countess and then to the elephant, so that it can all be undone, so that it can at last be put right, because Adele does live. She lives." Less than 5 blocks from the apartments Polonaise stood a grim, dark building that bore the somewhat improbable name of the Orphanage of the Sisters of Perpetual Light. And on the top floor of that building was an austere dormitory, outfitted with a series of small iron beds lined up side by side, one right after the other, like metal soldiers. In each of these beds slept an orphan, and the last of the beds in the drafty, overlarge dormitory was occupied by a small girl named Adele, who, soon after the incident at the opera house, began to dream of the magician's elephant. Oh, we have a new character! In Adele's dream, In Adele's dreams, the elephant came and knocked at the door of the orphanage. Sister Marie, the sister of the door, the nun who admitted unwanted children to the orphanage, and the only person ever allowed to open and close the front door of the orphanage of the Sisters of Perpetual Light, was, of course, the one who answered the elephant's knock. "Good of the evening to you," said the elephant, inclining her head toward Sister Marie. "I have come for the collection of the little person that you are calling by the name Adele." "Pardon?" said Sister Marie. "Adele," said the elephant. I have come for the collection of her. She is belonging elsewhere besides." "You must speak up," said Sister Marie. "I am old. I do not hear well." "It is the one you are calling Adele," said the elephant in a slightly louder voice. "I am coming for to keep her, and for taking her to where she is, after all, belonged." "I am truly sorry," said Sister Marie, and her face did look sad. "I cannot understand a word you are saying." "Perhaps it is because you're an elephant. Could that be it? Could that be the cause of the hindrance in our communications? Understand, I have nothing against elephants. You yourself are an exceptionally elegant elephant, and obviously well-mannered, but there is no doubt. But the fact remains that I can make no sense of your words, so I must bid you good night." And with this, Sister Marie closed the door. From a window in the dorm room, Adele watched the elephant walk away. "Madam Elephant!" she shouted, banging on the window. "Here I am, here! I am Adele! I am the one you are looking for!" But the elephant continued to walk away from her. She went down the street and became smaller, and then smaller still, until, in the peculiar and frustrating sleight of hand that often occurs in dreams, the elephant was transformed into a mouse that scurried into the gutter and disappeared entirely from Adele's view. And then it began to snow. The cobblestones of the streets and the tiles of the roofs became coated in white. It snowed and snowed until everything disappeared. The world itself soon seemed to cease to exist, erased bit by the white of the falling snow. In the end, there was nothing and no one in the world except for Adele, who stood alone at the window of her dream, waiting. I'm so excited that Adele has finally come into the story. So she is alive and she knows about the elephant. So I wonder what's going to happen. Chapter 7. The city of Baltise felt as if it were under siege, not by a foreign army, but by the weather. No one could recall a winter so thoroughly uniformly gray. Where was the sun? Would it never shine again? And if the sun was not going to shine, then could it not at least snow? Something, anything. And truly, in the grip of a winter so foul and dark, was it fair to keep a creature as strange and lovely and promising as the elephant locked away from the great majority of the city's people? It was not fair. It was not fair at all. More than a few of the ordinary citizens of Baltise took it upon themselves to knock at the elephant door. When no one answered the knock, they went as far as to try to open the door themselves, but it was locked tight, bolted firm. "You stay out there," the door seemed to say, "and what is inside here will stay inside here." And this, in a world so cold and gray, seemed terribly unfair. Longing is not always a reciprocal thing. While the citizens of Baltise may have longed for the elephant, she did not at all long for them, and finding herself in the ballroom of the Countess was, for her, a terrible turn of events. The glitter of the chandeliers, the thrum of the orchestra, the loud laughter, the smells of roasted meat and cigar smoke and face powder all provoked in her an agony of disbelief. She tried to will it away. She closed her eyes and kept them closed for as long as she was able, but it made no difference, for whenever she opened them again, it was all as it had been. Nothing had changed. The elephant felt a terrible pain in her chest. It was hard for her to breathe. The world seemed too small. The Countess Quintet, after considerable and extremely careful consultation with her worried advisers, decided that the people of the city, that is, those people who were not invited to her balls and dinners and soirees, could, for their edification and entertainment, and as a way to appreciate the Countess's finely tuned sense of social justice, view the elephant for free, absolutely for free, on the first Saturday of the month. The Countess had posters and leaflets printed up and distributed throughout the city, and Leo Matien, walking home from the police station, stopped to read how he too, thanks to the largesse of the Countess, could see the amazing wonder that was her elephant. "Ah, thank you very much, Countess," said Leo to the poster. "This is wonderful news indeed." A beggar stood in the doorway, a black dog at his side, and as soon as Leo Matien spoke the words, the beggar took them and turned them into a song. "This is wonderful news," sang the beggar. "Wonderful news indeed." Leo Matien smiled. "Yes," he said, "wonderful news. I know a young boy who wants quite desperately to see the elephant. He has asked me to assist him, and I have been trying to imagine a way that it could all happen, and now here is the answer before me. He will be so glad of it." "A boy who wants very much to see the elephant," sang the beggar, "and he will be glad." He stretched out his hand as he sang. Leo Matien put a coin in the beggar's hand and bowed before him, and then continued on his walk home, moving more quickly now, whistling the song the beggar had sung, and thinking, "What if the Countess Quintet becomes weary of the novelty of owning an elephant? What then? What if the elephant remembers that she is a creature of the wild and acts accordingly? What then?" When Leo came home at last to the apartment's polonaise, he heard the creak of the attic window being opened. He looked up and saw Peter's hopeful face staring down at him. "Please," said Peter, "Leo Matien, have you figured out a way for the Countess to receive me?" "Peter," he said, "little cuckoo bird of the attic world, you are just the person I want to see. But wait, where is your hat?" "My hat?" said Peter. "Yes, I have brought you some excellent news, and it seems to me that you would want to have your hat upon your head in order to hear it properly." "One moment," said Peter. He disappeared from the window and came back again, his hat firmly upon his head. "And now, then, you are officially attired and ready to receive the happy news of which I, Leo Matien, am the proud bearer." Leo cleared his throat. "I am pleased to let you know that the magician's elephant will be on display for the edification and illumination of the masses." "But what does that mean?" said Peter. "It means that you may see the elephant on the first Saturday of the month. That is, you may see her this Saturday, Peter. This Saturday." "Oh," said Peter, "I will see her. I will find her." His face suddenly became bright. So bright that Leo Matien, even though he knew it was foolish, turned and checked to see if the sun had somehow performed the impossible and come out from behind a cloud to shine directly on Peter's small face. There was, of course, no sun. "Close the window!" came the old soldier's voice from inside the attic. "It is winter and it is cold." "Thank you," said Peter to Leo Matien. "Thank you." And he pulled the window close. In the apartment of Leo and Gloria Matien, Leo sat down in front of the fire and heaved a great sigh and took off his boots. "Phew!" said his wife. "Hand me your socks immediately." Leo removed his socks. Gloria Matien took them from him and put them directly into a bucket filled with soapy water. "Without me," she said, "you would have no friends at all, because no one would be able to bear the smell of your feet." "I do not want to surprise you," said Leo Matien, "but as a matter of course I keep my boots on in public places, and there is no need then for anyone to smell my socks or feet." Gloria came up behind Leo and put her hands on his shoulders. She bent and kissed the top of his head. "What are you thinking?" she said. "I'm imagining Peter," said Leo Matien, "and how happy he was to learn that he could see the elephant for himself. His face lit up in a way that I have never seen." "It is wrong about that boy," said Gloria. She sighed. "He is kept a prisoner up there by that man, whatever he is called." "He's called Lutz," said Leo. "His name is Vilna Lutz." All day it is nothing but drilling and marching and more marching. I hear them. It is a terrible sound. Terrible. Leo Matien shook his head. It is a terrible thing altogether. He is a gentle boy and not really cut out for soldiering, I do not think. There's a lot of love in him, a lot of love in his heart. Here's a picture of Leo and Gloria Matien. Whoops. Sitting by the fire, her rubbing his shoulders. Most certainly there is, said Gloria, and he is up there with no one and nothing to love. It is a bad thing to have love and nowhere to put it. Leo Matien sighed. He bent his head back and looked up into his wife's face and smiled. And we are all alone down here. Don't say it, said Gloria Matien. It is only that, said Leo. No, said Gloria. No. She put a finger to Leo's lips. We have tried and failed. God does not intend for us to have children. Who are we to say what God intends? Said Leo Matien. He was silent for a long moment. What if... Don't you dare, said Gloria. My heart has been broken too many times, and it cannot bear to hear your foolish questions. But Leo Matien would not be silenced. What if... he whispered to his wife. No, said Gloria. Why not? No. Could it be? No, said Gloria Matien. It cannot be. We'll read chapters 8 and 9 tomorrow. But something I want you to think about, we're going to have a journal entry to go along with this writing today. You're going to answer a couple questions. One question is going to be about what we've been reading. So a question about the magician. The other question I want you to think about, okay, is what were Leo and Gloria Matien talking about when they were going back and forth? And Gloria kept saying no. What do you think? Make an inference. What do you think Leo Matien was thinking to his wife? Think about it. We'll talk about it tomorrow. See you later. I miss you. See ya.